Well, thank you everyone and good evening. Welcome to the City of Canning's agenda briefing session tonight. It's Tuesday the 9th of June and we're starting precisely at 6 p.m. Thank you one and all for your attendance. I wanted to start obviously by officially opening the meeting, and secondly by acknowledging the Whadjuk people, the traditional custodians of the land, and paying our respects to elders both past and present. In accordance with City of Canning Policy CM-105, agenda briefings are conducted only to provide elected members with a forum to ask questions of the administration to enable informed decision-making by Council at the following week's ordinary Council meeting, which will be held next Tuesday. Agenda briefings are not decision-making forums and questions may be asked and answered, but no debate or discussion or opinion is permitted. Questions must specifically relate to an item on tonight's agenda. Elected members and employees must disclose any financial, proximity or partiality interest that they may have in an item on the agenda and declare the interest at the commencement of the briefing or, at the very latest, when the item is about to be discussed. Financial, proximity and impartiality interests are to be disclosed in accordance with the Local Government Act. Elected members disclosing either a financial or proximity interest must not participate in that part of the briefing relating to their interest and must leave the meeting for the duration of the item. Agenda briefings are open to the public. This particular briefing is being live streamed to the public via the City's YouTube channel. And lastly, can I please ask you to ensure that mobile phones are turned off or at least on silent for the duration of the briefing. And for the benefit of the audio recording of the meeting, can I please ask elected members to speak clearly and directly into your microphones when addressing the meeting. Thank you very much. At item 2, attendances and apologies. There are no apologies tonight, but I do note that Councillor Tuchek is on an approved leave of absence that expires in a few weeks' time on the 30th of June 2026. At item 3, disclosures of interest. CEO Michael Littleton, have we received any this evening?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I've received a couple. In relation to item 3.1, declarations of financial interest, I have received none. But in relation to item 3.2, declarations of impartiality, I've received 2. The first from Councillor Luke McCorkell. In relation to item CC-008 of 26, the item details of the monthly financial report April 2026 at attachment 3. The nature of Councillor McCorkell's association is I am the president of the Riverton Junior Football Club who received a small grant as listed in attachment 3. The second declaration is from Deputy Mayor Mark Bain in relation to item IE 006 of 26, the proposed parking controls for various locations. The nature of Deputy Mayor Bain's relationship or association is I have a relative who lives on one of the streets where parking prohibitions are proposed to be installed.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you, councillors, for those declarations. Item 4 is in relation to question time from the public. In response to questions previously taken on notice, there are no responses outstanding. And at item 4.2, questions from the public, there are no public questions received either live or in writing, so I will propose to move on and not open public question time. At item 4.3, deputations, there are none. At item 5, items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery, similarly, there are none. Reports of committee meetings, there are none. The first report is item 7, councillors. It's on page 7 of the agenda and it is on screen now. It's OC 009 of 26. It's from the office of Mr Michael Littleton, the Chief Executive Officer. The title of the report being the adoption and review of Office of the CEO policies, and those policies are listed 1 to 5. This item, when it comes to council next week on Tuesday, will require an absolute majority. Any questions in relation to any of those policies, draft policies? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. A few questions, if I may. Just the first one regarding proposed policy EM-08, acting and temporary CEO. Just regarding section 5, if I understand correctly, council appoints an acting CEO for a period greater than 12 weeks, and as well as a temporary CEO. So council will determine the remuneration and benefits to be offered the temporary CEO, but not an acting CEO who may be in the position for 12 months. So I was just wondering why that's the case.
CEO, can you throw some light on that? Are you able to this evening?
Sorry, my understanding, Deputy Mayor, is that there is the capacity for the current CEO to appoint an acting CEO for a period of up to 12 weeks. The remuneration will be determined by the CEO of the day. Where the period exceeds that, then the matter will be considered by council.
Deputy Mayor?
So, thank you, through you, Mr Mayor. So after that 12-week period, the acting CEO, their remuneration package will be decided by the CEO after that 12-week period, or council?
CEO?
I think, that's the intent of the policy. I'm happy to provide some further clarity in the notes if necessary, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Continue.
Policy EM09, electronic meeting attendance, section 10, did bring this up at the SIB. So only council may approve the conduct of an electronic meeting outside of an emergency. So how will council's approval be sought? Will it be done via resolution at an OCM?
CEO?
The ability for attendance at electronic via electronic means is either made by the mayor or the council. The pro forma that we spoke to council about largely identified the reasons why the only reasons for approval of electronic attendance. If, however, council needs to determine, or council is required to determine electronic attendance at an OCM, that decision would be made as the first order of business at the OCM where that request has been sought.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Just for clarity,
Sure.
did you want to...
Ms Cornish.
Ms Cornish,
is desperate
would you
to provide some commentary?
would you like to provide some additional commentary, please, Ms Cornish?
Further to your comments, Mr CEO, I believe the Deputy Mayor was asking in regards to part 10 of that policy, and that part refers to an approval to conduct an electronic meeting, so where everybody attends via electronic means, not just one member attending. So yes, we would need to call either an OCM or an SCM in order to consider holding a complete electronic meeting, and that decision would need to be made prior to holding such an electronic meeting. Does that clarify?
Thank you, Governance.
And I think that's the question, isn't it? So how is it actually, that process taken? What process?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the process would be we would have to call either an...
Special council meeting?
Yeah, either an SCM or at the next available OCM, depending upon when you're wanting to hold the electronic meeting, of course.
Yeah, it's difficult, Deputy Mayor. Look, I've looked at the legislation myself. I understand and appreciate the question. It does require some clarity. I guess the calling electronic meetings isn't always done for these reasons. A council like ours may choose early in the year when we come to the list of meetings for the entire year. We may choose that 4 of those would be electronic, for instance, and that would be a decision of council. I guess on an ad hoc basis, another process would occur, but it would seem ludicrous that we would hold a special council meeting to vote on whether or not we could hold a electronic meeting, or that we all come in here to vote in person and then go home because we've got it just is. And Councillor Hearn, I know you asked the same questions previously, and it just seems ludicrous. I'm not sure what's going on. Deputy Mayor, another question?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Policy AD09, Fraud and Corruption Control, and as you would well remember, I brought it up at the ARIC meeting, section 1. So the policy applies to candidates also. So I'm just wondering how can it apply to someone who's a private citizen? And if that candidate was to engage in misconduct at some level during their campaign, would it not be up to the returning officer isn't the returning officer the one who's obligated to take action rather than the city?
Ms Cornish, are you able to provide some commentary on that, or would you rather the CEO? Ms Cornish?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The candidates who are running for election are required to abide by the city's code of conduct, and that applies as a candidate. If they were to allegedly commit some sort of fraud or an offence during that period, the city couldn't do anything unless that candidate became an elected member. Once they're an elected member, if a complaint was made, then the city can act in accordance with the code of conduct, either depending upon what type of a breach, either it's a behavioural offence or it's a division for a complaint. Does that answer your question?
Okay, is there a need then perhaps to consider some clarity there where when we say committee members and candidates, that we have candidates and perhaps in brackets something like candidates who later are successfully elected to council or something like that, because it does seem to be a bit ambiguous and the policy should be clear. So provide a little bit of narrative around it just to straighten that one up. Deputy Mayor.
Last one, thank you, Mr Mayor. Policy AF 301, procurement. Section 8 mentions the city's waiver register. Is that an internal document, internally facing, one that council doesn't have any sort of viewing of?
CEO.
It is an internal document, Councillor. It certainly is open to scrutiny, however.
Thank you. Anything else? Councillor Hearn, thank you.
I have a couple of questions about CS04, the student recognition policy.
Yep, go ahead.
The first thing, just reading the policy as it's written, it does say that the award is during the graduation period. But reading the remainder of the document, it seems unclear to me that this award goes to graduates and is not available to be awarded to any student at the school. Is the intent for this award to go to a graduate?
CEO?
The intent is that it goes to a graduate either in year 6 or 7 or year 10 or year 12.
Councillor Hearn?
My second question is about the amount of the award. I think $500 for a year 12 graduate is fantastic, and it makes it an aspirational award that people really want to get. I think for primary school graduates, where a lot of the awards given out are sometimes, books in the value of $30 or $50, this may create some kind of disparity with other awards that are also probably intended to be quite aspirational, such as academic. I can't really see schools saying no to utilising the entire value of this award. But I'm just questioning, has there been any conversation with principals about how they feel this fits in with their other award suite? Should we have a second level, a lower level for year 6?
CEO.
I'll provide some comments, and then Mr. Fisher might like to follow. I think during the development of the policy, we had spoken about a smaller amount, $250 for junior school graduates, but I appreciate that that position is still open for council to finalise as part of this policy. I do know that Mr. Fisher has had some conversations with schools, and he might like to clarify. But I think the intent here is that whereas at the moment we've been providing some value to schools in accordance with their award structure, we are proposing a Welcoming and Thriving Award, which would be principally, obviously selected by the schools, but something that's guiding and supporting our Welcoming and Thriving narrative.
Before we go to Mr. Fisher, I'll just ask a question, just following on from what Councillor Hearn said. I would expect that this is pretty much a pilot program, even though it'll be encapsulated in this policy. So I expect as a living document, we'll be monitoring, measuring the success of it. And if we need to adjust it some stage down the track, we would be looking to do that as a council, be reviewed as all policy would be reviewed?
Just to confirm, that would be the intent. Obviously, it's something new. We are looking to do something that's a bit unique. If it's not hitting the mark, then it would be necessary to change it.
Mr Fisher, have you got anything you'd like to add to the question raised by Councillor Hearn?
Through you, Mr Mayor, yes, we had discussions with some schools, but not all schools, and the position we hit was an award up to $500, which is in the policy. So I would imagine there's some flexibility in that with primary schools, and what we don't want to do is obviously have a $500 award compared to $30 award. And then we'll leave that decision up to the school principals about that monetary value.
Councillor Hearn? Nothing further, thank you. Any other questions in relation to that suite of policies? Thank you, councillors. Therefore, we shall move on to the next item on the agenda, which is OC-010-26. It's the annual review of the Register of Delegations. The officer's recommendation is on page 47 and also appears on screen. Once again, this matter, when it's dealt with next week, will require an absolute majority. Any questions in relation to the Register of Delegations? Yes, Councillor Kunza.
Through you, Mayor Hall. Just with respect to Delegation 25, are there any examples within the last 2 years that would have been dealt with through delegated authority if this threshold had been in effect then?
CEO, Delegation 25.
Yeah, this is in relation to the increase from 1 to 1.5. I just don't have the detail. We did provide it at the SIB, Councillor Kunza. I'm happy to provide the detail of the contracts that were awarded and the values over the last, I think it was 2 or 3 years, Ms Cornish, just to give you an indication of the ones that would fall under this provision. To be fair, it wasn't many. There was a couple. I think weed spray might have been 1.9, which wouldn't fall under this delegation. But principally, we were looking at to capture the goods and services contracts, Councillor Kunza, so not necessarily the build contracts. Happy to provide that clarity for you, and I'll happy to show it in the AB comments as well.
Thank you. Councillor Kunza.
Just to clarify, with respect to those projects that were provided in the SIB, some of them were capital projects that would have come to council, and some of them didn't meet the threshold. So I wasn't quite sure what actually changed with those examples. So if you could clarify which ones would change, that would be appreciated.
CEO.
Yeah, just to comment, I think there wouldn't have been too many in the last number of years that would have been captured by the increase in the threshold, but it's really just trying to keep pace with where we are with our current delegation. As you know, a lot of things that, the cost is continuing to escalate. So it's really just about ensuring that we're able to deal with the goods and services contracts on an ongoing basis as we currently do. So happy to give you hopefully a bit of sense of what's coming up in the next couple. Maybe that might help.
Thank you. Just following on with respect to Delegation 25 again, Condition 3, which isn't caught in the changes, the Condition 3 states that contracts for fuel and utilities as described in Clause 11.2g of the regulations are exempt from the financial considerations listed in 1 and 2 above and may be negotiated and awarded by the CEO. But Regulation 11.2g states that tenders do not have to be publicly invited according to the requirements of this division if the goods to be supplied under the contract are 1, petrol or oil, or 2, any other liquid or gas used for internal combustion engines. And my question is, why is utilities included in that clause, in that condition?
CEO.
I might take that on notice if that's okay, Councillor Kunza. I'll come back to you with the response.
And also, if you can probably take this on notice, is this the clause that was used to execute the Walga power supply contract under delegated authority? Thanks.
Thank you. We'll take that on notice, Councillor. We'll get back to you on that. Thank you very much. Any other questions in relation to the delegations? Thank you, councillors. We'll move on then to the next item, which is OC 011 of 26. The title of the report being Lease Renewal, Activate Life Rehabilitation Proprietary Limited, trading as Revive Physio in brackets WA. The recommendation is on page 54 of the agenda and it is currently on screen. Any questions in relation to that lease, councillors? None, thank you. We shall then move on to the next item, which is from the office of Mr. Nelson Maurizio, the Director of Corporate and Commercial, notwithstanding that Councillor McCorkell has declared an impartiality interest in this item. The recommendation is on page 62 of the agenda and it's on screen. It is the monthly financial report for back in April 2026. Any questions for the April financial report? Yes, Councillor Sekhon.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. This is in relation to capital expenditure. Is the city on track to deliver the Whaleback Entertainment Base by this month and F&B by July 2026?
We're just talking about this afternoon with the CEO.
Do you want me to respond?
CEO.
Well, at this stage, what I would say is the driving range, 36 of the 42 bays have been opened for now 2 weeks. The entertainment bays are yet to be finalised and completed. Sky doors have been received, so they aren't far away from installation. The food and beverage offering, it's unlikely, we think at the moment, that it will be completed by the end of July. We are anticipating a PC in August, however.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Sekhon? Nothing further. Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just the one question, the Greenfield Street Bridge. The website puts forward that plan completion is for mid-2027. Is that still on track?
Director, is that still on track, or would you like to take that on?
I'll take that on notice. Thanks, Mr.
We'll
Mayor.
take that on notice, Deputy Mayor, and get back to you on that one. Do you have any other questions? Nothing else? Any other questions in relation to the April financial report? Thank you, councillors. We shall then move on to the next item, which is... Oh, Mr. Maurizio, sorry.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to make a comment regarding the officer recommendation that's in the papers. So we're talking about we're proposing that council approves the internal loan for $2,581,064. And then we also propose adopting to amend the budget at paragraph 41 in the report. That says we're adjusting the budget for $2.6 million. So we'll be making some changes to that paragraph to reflect the actual value of the loan. And we'll add some commentary into the AB commentary just to explain what we've done
Into the published papers for the OCM next week.
The loan is actually for the actual cost of the project, where we had originally budgeted for $2.6 million being an estimate.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Any further questions on the item? Councillor Hearn.
Just in regard to that loan by the Whaleback Golf Club, going forward in the reporting, where would that loan be recorded or reported?
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. We would be budgeting for those loan repayments as a transfers to reserve from the Whaleback business. So those will be recorded in our monthly financials, I suppose, as we can record it in there as we can have a schedule in there showing how much is being transferred and how much is being transferred each year.
Councillor Hearn. Happy with that? Thank you. Councillors, we'll move on then to the next item, which is the Public Health Plan 2026 through to 2031. That's PD 007 of 26. And Mr. Graham Bride, the Director of Planning and Development, is the relevant officer for that report, which appears on page 108 of tonight's agenda and is also on screen. Any questions, councillors, in relation to the proposed Public Health Plan? Councillor Kunze, yes, thank you.
I've got a few questions. Thanks, Mayor Hall. Through you, I just wanted to ask if the proposed actions in the action plan actually align with what we plan to do. So, for example, Action 1.6 refers to the City of Canning Dog Spaces strategy, but in recent times, when people have talked about providing a dog park, the response has been that the strategy is not funded properly to deliver that. So, in proposing these actions, are we proposed to deliver them?
Director Bride.
Yes, through Mr. Mayor. The intention obviously would be to deliver, especially this particular plan does cross-reference a number of plans. Probably 75 to 80% of the actions reflect what the city is already doing, or already has on the runway to do. So certainly it's an adopted plan. If the dog spaces strategy has a recommendation to that effect, that's where the implementation will be enforced. We'll just be reporting that through this process. So it doesn't intend to usurp or to conflict with any of the plans referenced. And those plans in isolation, if there is an issue with delivery, that would be addressed as part of the annual report on this plan, but also the relevant directorate that handles that particular plan would also have to advise council as to why that particular recommendation can't be achieved.
Thank you. Councillor Kunza?
Thank you. Just following on from that, so it should state why why that hasn't been implemented if it hasn't. The 2019 to 2023 Public Health Plan states under Action 1.2.6, investigate the feasibility of installing exercise equipment at strategic locations around the city in suitable public open space to facilitate physical activity and link with walking and cycling networks. The first three annual reports state that it hasn't commenced against this action. In 22-23, it states that exercise equipment was installed at Wyong Park. In 23-24, it says that it was installed at Ranford Oval and Canning Vale, but nothing stipulates why the work hasn't commenced in terms of producing a plan at strategic locations. The new public health plan in the council report has Action 1.7, investigate the feasibility, costs and potential community benefits of establishing a future program for outdoor exercise equipment across the City of Canning as a medium priority rating. And we obviously have a notice of motion along these lines. So my questions are, why has the work not been done in the 7 years since the public health plan was adopted? And further to that, why are we still proposing in this new one to investigate a program to install exercise equipment across the city whilst we're simultaneously actually installing exercise equipment across the city? We've also done Hossack and Prenwick Reserve during this time.
Director Bride.
Through Mr Mayor, I might ask Director Bain to answer that.
Director Bowe.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thanks for the question, Councillor Kunza. The simple answer is that strategy was unfunded, and the investment in outdoor exercise equipment wasn't supported. Our focus over the last number of years has been on asset renewal across our public open space infrastructure. We have, just in reference to your previous question regarding the dog spaces strategy, we have delivered a particular dog park, and ultimately it was felt that the cost of in delivering those in lieu of our focus on renewal wasn't worth pursuing. It still remains an endorsed strategy of council, and if council is so inclined, allocation of budget at budget time would enable the delivery of those pieces of infrastructure.
Thank you. Councillor Kunza, yes.
And I just wanted to ask how the priority ratings have been determined. So the public health plan states that the free and low cost physical activity programs, particularly outdoor group fitness, exercise equipment in parks and accessible activities for all ages and abilities, was the most frequently nominated priority area by residents. Yet Action 1.7 lists it as a medium priority, which is again 7 years after it was first put as an action, whilst Action 1.5 refers to providing a safe space at Hillview, which doesn't filter through as a priority area for the residents in the consultation, and that's deemed as a high priority. There's matters within the action groups that have been a key focus for council, and it's listed as low priority. I'm just wondering how they were determined as to low, medium and high.
Director Bride.
Through Mr Mayor, I might ask our manager, Clint Burdett, to respond to that question.
Troy, thank you. Oh, sorry, Mr Burnett.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, through the Mayor. The priorities are a guide. Within the table, there's the high, which really is looking at the first 12 months. Medium is 1 to 2 years, and a lower priority would be within the 5 years. It's certainly open to elected members to make suggestions on those priorities. It was the city's working group and the internal departments that suggested that priority rating, but it's certainly open to changes if that's what council believes is necessary.
Thank you. Councillor Kunza.
So is that aligned with the corporate business plan? Is that what we're actually expecting to do?
You're directing that to Director Bride? Director Bride?
Sorry, can you, what was the question, Mr.
So with the internal working group and how you've proposed whether it should be low, medium or high, is that aligned with the corporate business plan as to what we're proposing to fund in those years?
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor, yes, that would align. Obviously, the business units, managers that have been involved in the preparation of the plan have ensured that the alignment of these areas align with what they're currently doing and the corporate business plan.
Thank you, councillors. Any further questions on that item before we move on? Thank you. We shall then move on to the next item on the agenda, which is IE 005 of 26. The responsible officer is Mr. Warren Bowe, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment. The title of the report is Request for Tender, RFT 13 of 2025, Streetscape and Garden Maintenance. The officer's recommendation, which is in 4 parts, appears on page 113 of tonight's agenda and is also on screen. Councillors, any questions in relation to the request for tender? Deputy Mayor, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 3 questions, if I may. Just to confirm, there is no proposed increase in service levels as part of this tender process or report, so service levels will be remaining the same, is that correct?
Director Bowe.
That is by and large correct, Deputy Mayor. But of course, we aim to be responsive in this space, and where we can make savings and increase service levels across specific areas, we would aim to do that, yes.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Following on from Director Bowe's answer, so the city is confident in regards to the poor potential or proposed appointee that they will have the capacity to accommodate requests for additional work within PAWS?
Director Bowe.
That would be a matter between the contractor and the contract supervisor, Deputy Mayor. But you'll note that separable portion B within this contract, the services were previously undertaken in-house. And by contracting out all 3 separable portions, we will retain some internal capacity, and the intent of that is to be responsive to, I guess, ad hoc requests or areas of heightened need, and including utilising some of those staff who are now freed up, subject to Council's endorsement of awarding this contract to be redeployed to other areas, other verges, arterial roads, etc., as required.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And again, following on from Director Bowe's response through you, just regarding the level of service within a PAW, does that include sweeping and removing all debris from it?
Director Bowe.
I don't believe so, Deputy Mayor. The removal of debris, but the tidying and the general tidying of the public access way would be important, but I don't believe that the scope and the spec requires the removal of all grass clippings and the like, but I'll probably just confirm that offline.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other questions, councillors, in relation to the request for tender? Yes, Councillor Sekhon, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. Just one question. Has any of the recommended suppliers worked with the city previously?
Director Bowe.
I believe so, Councillor Sekhon. I believe that we have an arrangement already with Work Power, and I do believe LD Total have previously provided services to the city, but not particularly in this in the maintenance and the operational maintenance area. I'm happy to confirm that offline, though.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Councillor Sekhon. Any further questions before we move on? Yes, Councillor McCorkell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one question, if I may. Just regarding the contractor failure that we've had in the past, have we got performance measures put in place for this new contract?
Director Bowe.
Yes, there are specific performance requirements built into the contract, Councillor McCorkell.
Thanks. And just, do we have any contingencies moving forward?
Director Bowe.
Certainly, the internal staff that are freed up due to the allocation of several proportion 2 or Part B would provide some internal contingencies, but ideally with suitable contract management, Councillor McCorkell, we'd be able to rectify any areas of underperformance, and we'd have some sufficient notice of the requirement to ensure we have additional capacity at the ready in the event that we're unable to achieve that with the current contractor.
And we do have an early warning system, don't we? Because the residents don't hold back from letting us know very quickly when there's a failing in the contract. So we do have an early warning system. Thank you, Councillor McCorkell. Any further questions there? Councillor Page, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. I just wanted to clarify, has this been the last tender since 2018? Because in the previous council resolutions, it's only got up to 2018. I feel like we have awarded tenders for Streetscape since then, or am I incorrect?
Director Bowe.
Councillor Page, you may be confused with arterial verge maintenance, but I'll be able to confirm that for you offline.
Thank you.
Get back to you in writing on that one. Thank you. We'll take that on notice. Thank you, Director Bowe. The next item on tonight's agenda is IE 006/26. The title of the report being Proposed Parking Controls for Various Locations, which includes modifications. There's a raft of areas in which that is being undertaken, listed here from A to I in the agenda. The recommendation is on page 121 of the agenda. It's also on screen, and the Deputy Mayor has declared a impartiality interest in relation to this matter. Any questions in relation to these proposed parking controls? Yes, Councillor Jacobs.
Thank you. What's the procedure with this stuff? Is this, do some people complain that they don't want parking and then we look into it, or is this was this like a systematic analysis of the schools? Because I sometimes get, the reason I'm asking is I sometimes get residents saying, oh, I don't like parking on this street. Is there a process where they can get in touch with people in the city? Or?
I think it's a bit of both, but I'll ask Director Bowe to respond to that. Director Bowe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You're right, it's both, Councillor Jacobs. In conjunction with the school safety reviews that we've undertaken and will continue to undertake, we identify through engagement with the schools, through on-site observations, through reports from our rangers about how parking activity and discipline is occurring in and around the schools. But by and large, we receive a number of inquiries regarding parking, not only around schools, but in areas around commercial centres and otherwise. We keep track of those. If there is an additional increase in volume of those, we'll go out and do an inspection. But it's ultimately a mixture of both.
Thanks, Councillor Jacobs. Any further questions on those parking controls? Deputy Mayor, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few questions, if I may. The proposed parking prohibition zones for Manning Road at the intersection of Bungaree, Ellis and Braybars Road. I note that there's already a number of parking prohibition signs in those areas, and it is something that we did look at 3 or 4 years ago now. Are we just able to confirm what signs are existing and proposed?
Director, did you want to take that on notice, or are you able to provide a response?
Yeah, happy to take those on notice, Mr. Mayor. The attachments to the report, Deputy Mayor do identify or aim to identify. I realise it can be difficult to discern those that are existing in those locations. Is your question in relation to those restrictions that we imposed a few years ago? I think you're talking about on Manning Road as well.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that's correct. So there are a number of signs there on site that are indicating parking prohibitions, particularly around the corners. But I think there might be some confusion as to what's existing currently and what is proposed. Given those, I had a look again today just to confirm, and a number of the signs are that the existing signs are faded or falling over. Would we be able to have a look at these while we install the new signs, please?
Director Bowe.
Yeah, we can do a review, Deputy Mayor, and I might just ask Mr. Bosich to make a comment just on that one Mr Mayor. Having said that though, Deputy Mayor, we are aiming to just reinforce elements of the traffic code in and around those intersections where it is actually already illegal to park. We just think that installing no stopping signs provides a bit more clarity to people who may be contemplating parking in and around there, but I will ask Mr Bosich to comment.
Mr Bosich.
Yes, through the Mayor. Generally, the parking prohibitions along Manning Road is no parking. So that means people can't park on the road, but they can park on the verge. We have had numerous requests to prohibit parking on the verge, but that just pushes cars further down the street because we know that there's a lot of units there. Some people do park on the verge. It's not ideal, but we have allowed it. The prohibitions here, the ones shown in red, so they're in relation outside the old, or where the markets are, so to prevent parking on the verge there during the market times. And at the intersections, because there's a lot of vehicles that are parking close to intersections, reducing sight distance. So we're putting those there because we consider it's a real safety issue.
Thank you. Yes, I see a follow-up question coming on,
Sorry, Mr.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, it just came to mind. I don't want to delve into the operational, but just with those signs, I have reported a sign or two falling over along Manning Road. There seems to be a propensity for them, whatever the conditions might be or whatever's causing it. Are we able to install the signs with deeper footings, please?
Director Bowe.
We'll look into the method that we're doing that, Deputy Mayor. But I have noticed that myself, particularly in the where the verge is particularly sandy and subject to some parking from time to time, regardless of the sign. So we'll do a full review and look at improving those signs along that road.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Jacobs.
It's got a few things. I know in some other councils they physically put like a yellow line. Have we explored that?
We've already done that. So I've got one in Surrey Road. They've got a number of locations we have, and we've got the continuous yellow line. Yeah.
And then the second one is, I know in Perth you need to sort of have a doctorate in reading signage to understand some of the signage signs. I think ours are pretty good. In the city of Perth seem to be the worst. But I'm just thinking for in the future, is it possible to have a digital map, like an app where you can just look in and say, okay, can I park there? And it'll, I know that Easy Park have like a really good digital system of all the city parking, or a lot of cities. Just trying to think ahead, like signs are good, but if we don't have a sign, is there like a digital, everything seems to be going digital, and this is probably, do we have a plan, or could we look into that?
I'd like to start by apologising to the Lord Mayor of Perth before he rings me tomorrow morning, because our council has just identified City of Perth parking as the worst ever. So I'll cover off on that. I get it. I've done it myself. Director Bowe.
Happy to take that on notice, Mr Mayor.
We'll take that on notice, Councillor. Yeah.
I think City of Perth parking's fine. It's just the understanding their signs. You need a doctorate in signage to understand them.
Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that. Hello, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, everyone. We've got, unless there's any further questions, we have. Councillor Kunze, yes.
Yeah, I just had a question through you regarding the Rossmoyne Senior High School parking prohibitions. The prevalence of cars parking along Webb Street has increased in recent years, and I've received a few complaints, concerns over the years. I was just wondering whether staff looked at Webb Street, given its primary access route in and out of Rossmoyne, and cars parked on Webb Street create quite a challenge sometimes, especially during peak periods.
Director, was that a consideration?
I believe it was, Mr Mayor, but I'm happy to take that on notice and get a full response.
We'll take that on notice and we'll get back to you, Councillor. Do you have another question? No. Councillor Sekhon.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. My question is in relation to the parking controls around Riverton Primary School. I guess I just wanted to understand what prompted the parking changes around the school.
The catalyst for the parking changes around the Riverton Primary School, are you able to shed any light on that, Director?
Oh, certainly, we've been receiving feedback over a number of years. Parking around schools, as you know, Councillor Sekhon, is a constant struggle, both for people trying to access and drop their kids at school, for residents in and around the area. Our staff are regularly going to visit. We engage our rangers to assist in helping people understand the signage. And so a part of the school review, but just a broader update, you'll note there's a number of parking plans that are the subject of review tonight. They're under regular review. Ideally, I think in the future we have fewer plans being reported at once to lighten the load a bit and enable a greater understanding. But yeah, by and large, it would have been in response to feedback from the road users and the residents in and around and the school as well.
May I have a follow-up question? Because the three streets...
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
The three streets that were proposed, Veronica, Tyre Avenue and Laurel Close, they're pretty much the three streets that interact with the school. And if parking is prohibited in those three streets, it's just going to cause issues elsewhere. Because those are the streets very closely situated and where parents park and quickly get off to pick up their kids. So I guess my concern is, the pressure that it might put on other streets surrounding the school. Have we considered that?
Director Bain.
Yes, absolutely, Councillor Sekhon. The changes to the prohibitions along Noongar Way was important as well, but I will ask Mr Bosic to make some additional comments if I can, Mr Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr Bosic, thank you.
Yes, just through the Mayor, the two streets, Tyre Avenue and Noongar Way, all we're doing is prohibiting parking on one side of the street, like we encourage everybody just to park on the one side. It's just that on those two streets, people have started parking on both sides, and therefore it restricts people to pass. So we're allowing parking on one side of the street, not on the other, like we do at most schools.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Sekhon. Yes, Councillor Ross.
Through you, Mr Mayor, just a question. When that's a consideration for that street, I was wondering why Parkwood wasn't considered in terms of Zelkova Road, where we recently had a lot of complaints about parking and people parking on both sides of the street and in driveways and on verges and all over the shop, just at that Zelkova.
I'm sure that's under consideration. Director Bo, Parkwood Primary School, was that in the list there somewhere?
Certainly, it's definitely in the list, Mr Mayor, and it's definitely been the subject of a recent review, as you know, Councillor Ross. I might just get Mr Bosic on that one as well. I'm just having a look at the parking plan, but I'll defer to him.
Yes, just
Mr Bosic, Parkwood.
Through the Mayor, our rangers went out on site 2 weeks ago, and the parents behaved extremely well. Nobody parked illegally. Nobody reversed in and out of driveways. We did visit the site on another day, and people were parking in a pickup set-down zone for too long. Our officers did meet with the school principal, and he is happy with the prohibitions that are there now. So we're going to continue to monitor them to see whether any further adjustments are required.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Ross. Thanks for that, Mr Bosic. Any other questions on the item before we move on? Thanks, councillors. We shall move on then to almost the end of the meeting. Director Gary Fisher is the Director of Community and Customer. There are no reports from the Directorate at the meeting. And item 8, the final item on tonight's agenda, is a notice of motion that's been put forward for consideration at the next ordinary council meeting, and that's notice of motion 004-26, the title of which is Investigating Benefits of Establishing a Future Program for Outdoor Exercise Equipment, otherwise known as OEE, across the City of Canning. The recommendation in relation to that notice of motion is on page 148 of tonight's agenda and is on screen. Are there any questions from the floor in relation to that notice of motion? Yes, Councillor Kunza.
Through you, Mayor Hall. Just following on from my earlier questions on the public health plan, the city has been installing exercise equipment at a few locations over the last 5 years. As I've raised many times to administration, Action 3.1A of the 2019 adopted Shelley Rossmoyne Foreshore Management Plan is to install exercise equipment along the length of the Foreshore Reserve in appropriate locations. It had a high priority with a medium timing, meaning it was to be delivered by the 23-24 financial year. It was the #1 community request in the Shelley Rossmoyne Foreshore Management Plan, and the locations were identified by staff. I just wanted to ask why the city's been installing exercise equipment in other locations, but not on the Shelley Rossmoyne Foreshore as our strategy, and when will the city be actioning this item?
Director Warrenbow.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thanks for the question, Councillor Kunzler. The city made a decision a number of years ago to focus more of our investment along the Shelley Ross Mine foreshore in the more environmental aspects of and along that important part of the city. The city also invested heavily in over $2 million worth in the playground at Shelley Beach Park. We did have, in an ad hoc basis, installed some pieces of outdoor exercise equipment at other locations across the city in conjunction with some parkland redevelopment projects. That's the long and short of it, but I anticipate that if council supports this notice of motion, that our approach in that area will be different and that we'll have a more coordinated approach across the city.
CEO.
Yeah, look, it's probably just important. I think that was a good response. I think it's important to acknowledge that certainly in my time, council has asked us to really focus on clear deliverables for the community, and principally that has been a substantial investment in playground equipment. I appreciate that there is many actions that are currently contained in strategies that the city has not delivered because the city, as it was acknowledged to me, simply didn't have the capacity to do so, and council didn't have that capacity. There was this tendency of developing strategies that were beyond our means to fund. We have been working through collectively to try and ensure that we've got much more pragmatic plans and planning as we go forward. I appreciate the conversation around the current public health plan. The mentioning of exercise equipment is contained in this iteration because we know that there's a clear desire of this council and of its community to continue to focus on exercise equipment. This notice of motion is supported by the city for that principal reason. So we'll come up with a plan that can be incorporated into our broader public playground strategy, so that we can deliver, on all of those elements that the community and the council is looking for. But there has been a substantial investment in play, and that will continue. We appreciate that there will be a need to look at how we deliver those things over time. But that's the situation. Appreciate that there are things that haven't happened. We continue to review those things as we step forward to create tangible, deliverable and focused plans for community infrastructure.
Thanks, CEO. Thank you. Councillor Kunzler, anything further? No. Councillor Hearn.
Is there any way to assess utilisation of this type of equipment? Does installing it mean people will use it?
I think that'll be fleshed out through the Director Bro. I'll let you address
I think that there's yes, there is. I think Councillor Hearn, we can physically observe, survey, and the like. Similarly, though, to our playgrounds, we don't necessarily undertake any post installation surveys to properly or ascertain how much use they get or otherwise. But if that's council's wish, then we'll look at exploring that as well to validate our investment.
CEO.
Yeah, and just to follow up, and just to the point I think that's been made, undertaking the review gives us a structured approach to delivering playground equipment in the right locations. So, as opposed to ad hoc implementation, we'll create some criteria and we'll look at those areas that could reasonably support playground equipment, exercise equipment, because we know there's lots of people exercising in those areas. So, Shelley Foreshore, we're talking about the Serpentine Trunk Main, those sorts of things. I think making sense of it is probably the most appropriate approach, and not only the public health plan initiative, but also the notice of motion that is before us makes some sense.
Thank you. Any other questions in relation to the item? Yes, Deputy Mayor Mark Bain.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just one question. What's the level of service when it comes to the maintenance of the outdoor exercise equipment across the city?
Is that something we know of at this point?
Basically, it'd be reactive, Deputy Mayor, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, councillors. I don't think there are any other questions in relation to the item. Thank you for your input tonight and for the questions. They are all very valuable. At item 9 tonight, urgent business, we have none. At item 10, confidential matters, there are none listed for next week's meeting. And at closure, I'd just like to say I'll be in Singapore on council business next week, and the Deputy Mayor will be chairing the meeting, and I want to thank him for doing that. And the OCM will be chaired by Deputy Mayor Mark Bain. So I appreciate that. There being no further business, I declare this agenda briefing closed. The time now being 6:56 p.m. And I thank everyone for their attendance. Thank you very much, staff, and also those in the public gallery. Thank you.